Morning, everybody. How you all doing? It is Saturday, the 25th of April, 2026. Hopefully, you all can see me clear enough. On the move yet again. Flew up to Baltimore to do some stuff with family and friends. So I'm going to enjoy this little bit of time that I have this go around. I plan on coming back in a couple of weeks. I have an event to cover today that the Afro newspaper is doing. They're hosting a gala right around the corner from me. I have a plug, so the plug was able to get me in last minute. Thank you very much, plug. Appreciate you, lady. Um, got in and went to the hospital. I spent a good clip yesterday in the emergency room because vertigo. Let me tell y'all
Oh,
something. Getting old sucks. It freaking sucks. And yeah, man, vertigo uh, hit me Thursday, and it hit me again yesterday. So here I am, trying to get out Thursday to get here, and I was simply at a damn store. I paid for my merch. I'm leaving, and as I'm rounding the corner, damn room does that on me. I'm like, ooh, that ain't cool. So I steadied myself, waited for a couple, got outside, got to the car, sat in the car for about an hour before I then pulled off, got to work, chilled out, was going to go to an emergency clinic or something like that before I flew out. But then I was concerned about missing my flight. So I chose not to. And I'm grateful I didn't because I literally just made my damn flight. Even not doing that, all I did was stop to get something to eat. But by the time I was done with that, parked the car, dropped the car off, got the shuttle, and got to the airport, I just missed. I just made my flight. I'm sorry. So when I got up, got myself together yesterday, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take myself to the VA and let them do their thing, try to figure out what's going on. They gave me some pills, seems to have helped a lot. So I'm gonna stick with that. I have an appointment with them this week coming. Well, next week I should say. But yeah, this week coming, same thing. So we'll talk about that when I sit in front of the doc, try to figure out what's going on with me, man. This is something that has impacted me for a couple of years. It's never been this close together though, and it's never been usually when I'm not flying. This is the second bout that I've had in recent memory that I wasn't flying. I was on the ground, stable. I was off a plane for a multitude of days, and then all of a sudden, shit just hit. That's not cool. That's not cool at all. So I'm trying to really figure out what's going on. And I tell you, as we tell everybody, and make sure you go to the doctor. Make sure you get checked out. Make sure you get the answers that you need, not the answers they want to give you. Because sometimes, especially with folks that look like us, they don't give you the answers that you need. They'll give you a script and let you move on. The VA was very explicit in what was going on. They did the CAT scan and stuff last night. They said it didn't look like anything was crazy. They were concerned about that. So their recommendation again was the pills, and if something else happened or if it continued, then to come back to see them. I want to say I reported it to the VA a couple months ago, and one of the nurses there was like, "Yo, if that happens to you again, you need to go to the emergency room. You need to figure out. You need to let them look at you and make sure everything was everything." So yeah, that's what I did and stuff. So that's what it is. But other than that, man, it was a great week. Like I didn't feel stressed. I wasn't stressed. I was just chilling. So when this thing popped off like it popped, it really did put a pause in me and made me um, take a look, see, find out what the hell was going on for real. Uh, but yeah, that's where we are. That's what's up. Full show today. We want to continue the conversation we had last week with the discussion about us relating to one another, how we relate to one another. That's the reason I called the show today, Love and Violence. I definitely wanted to talk about not just the love and violence part, but also what's going on in Iran, the redistricting in Virginia. There's a number of things that we really
hey,
need to get into.
before you go further,
Yes, sir. Go for it.
can I talk to you about my bout with vertigo?
You're real low.
I said, before you go further, can I talk to you about my bout with vertigo?
Oh, absolutely.
because I've had. Can you hear me? Am I better now as far as a voice?
I'm going to check my volume to make sure my volume is turned all the way up. But yeah,
No,
you were still
it
coming in
could
low.
be. It
Keep
could be
talking.
these.
My
Let
volume
me take
is.
these
I
out.
think you're fine. Yeah, you're
Am I
fine.
better?
You're fine. It was my volume. My apologies.
Oh, okay. Well, I do want to say because I've had vertigo, and I remember the first time I experienced it, and the last time I went through it was crazy. Very first time, man, I was getting me something to eat, and I was standing up at a restaurant, and I just remember feeling dizzy and having a crazy sweat, and I didn't know what the hell it was, man. And I had a hell of an episode with everything spinning. And I was
Yes.
in the car. I had to have my brother-in-law walk around the corner to the spot that I was at to come drive the Tahoe that I was driving back to the house. And I, you know what, and I would say hydration, like whatever you got to do, man, make sure you're drinking water. Matter of fact, you need electrolytes in you when you start feeling that way. Stay equipped with those electrolytes. The other thing too is no sudden movements.
Yes.
No sudden
Yeah.
movements. And it's crazy because flying actually makes mine go away.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's just really it's what they call the jet stream, where they said the jet stream pushes against your eardrums, and it's not everyone, but those of us who are susceptible to it, it pushes against your eardrums and it knocks your equilibrium off. And so anytime that it gets bad, not only myself, I know my sister Drea, she also she has that issue as well here inside of Minnesota, and I've known a few other people. But man, boy, hey,
It's scary, bro.
because you break
It
out,
is scary, and that ain't even half. I mean, it's definitely crazy.
bro.
You
Hey, listen,
know.
you said it. As soon as you said it, I'm like, you said you said vertigo, like, dude. I listen. Vertigo is it don't care where you at. It don't care where you at and what you doing. When that mug get to spinning, you have no control. All you can do is hopefully be
Hold
some
on.
hold
Hold
on,
on.
close your eyes and even when you close your eyes, it feels like a kid
First,
on the
right.
wheel. What was that called? A Ferris wheel? What was that called?
Oh, the thing at the playground that you turn. What was
Yeah,
that called?
it was
I
something.
gotta find out what that's called.
It,
Yeah.
Ferris wheel goes like this.
Yeah.
See, this is what's wrong when you get old. See, you goddamn old when you don't even know what they call it on the playground. No goddamn old. You ain't playing like that no more. Your vocabulary is only one word: slide. Okay, so
Yes.
monkey bar sound a little too racist, but but Rashi,
You call me a monkey?
Rashi, what is the thing that they spend the kids on in the middle of the park?
The it's a toy you asking about?
See, old people,
It's
you
a it's a little it's a
it
it's
ain't no
it's
damn
there's
toy.
more than one toy to do that, brother.
No,
There's a tire that
no,
kids sit on and they spin that tire to death.
no.
There's that platform with the bars on it, and you can run it
Right.
around,
That one.
and it just
That
Yeah,
one.
spins.
that's
And you
what it
go
is.
round, around, around.
Kids don't call it no platform. See, don't start with
Nah,
this.
we don't. Yeah, don't call me
What's it
damn
called,
platform.
What
Rashi?
they call that thing? It
See,
ain't the
that's
tilted world. It ain't the
I'm
spinning
gonna
one.
look it up. I'm gonna
old
look it up.
old people. You see, old people. We don't know shit about the playground. We don't know the names no more. You see, she came on and got real technical. She said the platform with
It's
the
called
metal.
spinning top.
It's called spinning top.
I'm thinking. I'm looking it up. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look. I'm finding it out.
But that
Cause you're
vertigo,
right.
that vertigo, man. When you close your eyes, oh my god, man. Hey, listen, brother. I had vertigo when I went to Costa Rica, and we were jet lining,
Oh, zip lining or whatever.
was zip lining in the jungle, and you had to go higher and higher and higher and higher. And I ain't gonna front. After going as high as I could and zip line, whatever it is, it adjusted my eardrums, and I was good afterwards.
Yeah, they just call it a merry-go-round.
Also, as a merry-go-round. Okay, there we go. There you go.
Yeah.
Merry-go-round. Okay. All right, that is what it is called. It is called a merry-go-round. I think I called it Ferris wheel is this way.
Yeah.
Merry-go-round is that way.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, let me get my juvenile language back on. Merry merry-go-round. Okay, because you marry when it's going around. I got it. But but yeah, man, that vertical, brother. So whatever you got to do, man. I hope you got some Gatorade or something like that with you today.
So brother Thomas, what you actually experience in Costa Rica is altitude sickness, and I also suffer from it. It's an inability due to our DNA structure to properly adjust when we are going, and you should be feeling something similar to that when you fly. Do you get kind of like a queasy, up, down, like somebody swirling your insides feeling when you fly, Mr. Barry?
No, I no. What I suffered for what Lee had, I had vertigo before I got there.
Even before you got there,
Yeah,
okay.
so I already had vertigo, and listen, I mean,
But
girl thought I was going crazy because we'd be fine watching a movie, and the next thing you know, I'm sweating bullets. I'm trying to close my eyes because it's just spinning. Rashi, you know what it's like. Remember them old school TVs? The ones where you could adjust the thing and it just goes up and down like this,
yep,
right? That's
yep.
exactly how it is. That's why they call it vertigo, because you can't control, like you cannot control the picture of what you're seeing. And man, the
No,
sweats.
so,
Whew,
so full disclosure, we were doing the show one time, and I
right?
went blank for a long time because I was going through vertigo during the show, and I was just sitting in the chair, and we were talking full fledged conversation, and that Joker came on, and I went dark, and I'm literally holding on to the desk because that room was spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning like I was about to fall. And you're right, Thomas. Full blown sweat. I was panting. It was bad.
When
It was
we
bad.
when we went to Vegas to visit Rodney, me and my son,
Mhm.
Hmm.
we did all the tourist shit, and that included the Museum of Illusion. Okay,
Mm.
the Museum of Illusion has something called a vortex tunnel,
Okay.
and when you go in, they're casting a visual spinning illusion onto all in a 360 degree media field, and but you're walking across it in a bridge, and your brain has to process whether or not you're moving. The bridge not moving, Barry, but in your brain, I when I tell you, I had to almost crawl, and my brain did not reorient itself very well for the rest of the day. I was kind of
Yeah.
off. So I have an idea. Several people came out of there crying, especially the young children. They were crying, and so I was with a child who I feel is a little not my son, a different child, and he was ready to go through that bad boy twice.
Oh wow.
He was ready to go through that bad boy thrice if we would have let him. But it was very disorienting, and I don't know if the general, she got back. She was driving, so she was able to drive. I could not have driven after the vortex thing because I was just too disoriented. Like I couldn't see. I would look left, and in the scene of what is left was filling itself in after I had already looked left. Now it wasn't already pre-existing there, and so it really disoriented my perspective. And so I can understand how you would have felt like it's emergency room time because sometimes that's blood sugar, but they didn't. That's not what they said.
No, no. They took my blood. I did the urine. I didn't have high blood pressure. It wasn't a sugar situation because I really cut out a whole lot of processed sugar. Now I've been doing the natural sugar through fruit, but processed sugar, nah, pretty much off of that. And now and again, I'll sneak a little something in. But for the most part, no, I've been really good at that. Matter of fact, this morning when I had breakfast, I had unsweet tea. and all I put in
All
it
right.
was the lemon slice.
When you are on the CPAP machine, one of the things, for listeners, please excuse me, I'm finna get technical. One of the things I was
You didn't have to
trained
let
to,
everybody know I'm on the CPAP machine, Rashi. God dang,
I'm
you
sorry,
put all
dang.
my business in the
I'm
streets.
sorry. He's a what they call it, the dude who he's a maverick. Never mind. He's a maverick at night. No worries. Um, your blood gas oxygen. That's what I want you to do a checkup on. It is arterial blood gas. It is a painful procedure, but it gives you better understanding of what's happening in your blood for your
Well,
oxygenation. They can do that pulse ox on you for 1,000 years, and it will give you a good idea of whether or not you're processing oxygen well. But your blood arterial gas numbers will give a better understanding and may not give you understanding why vertigo is on the an option for you as
gotcha.
what happens.
So
Okay.
I was saying, I think you missed it, but I have two appointments, well, three actually, this week with the VA, and I will definitely bring up all that stuff because I got to figure out what's going on.
Yeah,
You know, it was understandable when I was traveling. I could get it. Like, okay, like you said, the altitude, the changes, I get it, understood it. I'm prepared for that. But for it to happen as it's been happening now, just totally out of the blue, when
yeah,
I'm grounded, I've not been near airplane at all, or I hadn't been near airplane for days later,
yeah,
and it's like, yo, what's going on? I really need to figure that part out. But yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not trying to go out on 100% total TD where I can't work, but I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on with me, seriously, because this is not cool at all. And I do not live in a place where public transportation is easily accessible.
yeah,
Hell, I don't even think there's any public transportation in the county that I live in, to be honest with you.
yeah,
So that's not a easy thing for me to get around right now. And I still want some degree of independence, and I don't think I should have to fear this every day and not have that degree of independence. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So we're gonna work through it. We'll figure it out.
I'll
Honestly,
I'll tell you
this
with vertigo though, and as long as I've been implementing this to my life, vertigo has not on a consistent basis. I don't have issues with vertigo. You got to figure out how to up your exercise regimen to at least 45 minutes a day.
okay.
Get a sweat in, get some walking in, whether it's just walking, some light weights or whatever. That's what keeps vertigo away. I believe my sister Drea, I can pretty much ask her. I know she started to work out at some point, and once she started working out more, haven't heard anything about her and vertigo. It's just one of those things where anytime when I had that episode, the last episode I had right before I went to Costa Rica, and while I was in Costa Rica, it was when she turned on the exercise and you start moving, and that's what it was. I got to moving because now we hiking up hills, we're walking through the jungle, we're zip lining, we're doing all of these things. It's like your body levels it out, and
Okay.
you were similar to me at one point. I played sports, you serve, so you had a regimen that you had to keep up with.
True that.
And then we stop with our regimen, and then before you know it, you may stop walking, you may stop doing a little extra stuff that you're doing because you're somewhere you got to drive in between. You ain't familiar with nothing over there, and then that damn South Bears will hop out on your ass with
Say that again.
where you what sound like where
All
you
kinds of crap: bears, ponies, lions, and no.
especially them goddamn dogs. But you know, man, it's just one of those things. Because is man, one thing about vertigo, you have no warning.
None.
You have
None whatsoever.
it when it happens,
It happens.
you just start the sweat start like whoo. So, brother, I'm with you. We'll talk more off air
Yeah.
because man, boy, the girl thought I had a demon in me
Mm.
because I would just
Look,
be
bro.
cool.
Rashi, I don't know what you're going through as far as menopause or perimenopause or whatever. But if it feel anything like that, Lord have
It
mercy.
is. It is a very similar thing. It's a hormonal issue, and for now, what happens with women is we my ears are itching. Like the inner part of my ears are like
Mhm.
always itching. And as far as the sweats, Mr. Barry, I could catch fire at any moment. I call it catching fire,
It's
literally. Literally, like somebody that said, went ahead and doused me with gasoline, and I might have and lit the match. The other thing I'm starting to notice is a lot of restless nights. Um, and I already was a bad sleeper, so it's turning into an issue. But more importantly, you're absolutely right, Barry. When other people watch us do this and they're not at that phase yet,
Mhm.
yeah, you're a demon. You got a demon inside you. Or yeah, you've gone crazy. Do you know how many men say that their wife, when they went through menopause, just went crazy? And I was like, okay, well, yeah, she just decided she don't want you to keep talking no more. Shut up talking to me.
Mhm.
And so I'm not quite there yet, but I understand the physical things happening to me are quite surprising because don't nobody say nothing. I thought this would be a part of health class, right? The aging process is what you tell teenagers. Hey, if you do this, you might get this. If how
Facts.
about if this is this, then this is what happened with people who did a lot of that.
Mhm.
And I'm just talking about something as simple as dairy. You can say if you keep eating cheese every day, this is what end up happening. Quite possibly, right? Or if you do these drugs, or if you do and they used to do it with the DARE program, right, Barry? They used to show you what happens on certain drugs and what they do and blah blah blah.
Mhm.
And so, but we cut that out. I guess they called it we were demonizing the victim or something. But so I'm so glad you brothers take care of yourself though, cause
Absolutely.
I can't. I was telling you. I care about you, brothers. I listen and I learn. I'm the student in the club, and when you all get prepared to teach on a workable level, I sit here and I ponder how to transfer that information to children. And it's not a game. It's real. And even Lee, I've called you directly to do what? Teach children. And so, and Brother Barry, I would love to have that opportunity with you, to be able to call on you to.
Thomas like, you brought up his
No, no,
PTSD. He like, man, I'm that class
no.
from. I'm free.
It
I'm
wasn't
free
that
now.
bad.
I'm free.
It wasn't that bad, was it, Lee? It wasn't that bad.
No,
Nah,
no,
nah.
It was.
no. I'm just BS. I as he's right, I've gotten out of it. I've gotten
Walker
out of
said
it,
he's free now.
you
He's
know.
free.
But anytime somebody wants me to come in and whatever when it comes to kids, because somebody did it for me, so I don't. I'm just
Okay.
I'm being a clown
I'm
early.
glad you say that because right now we're dealing with innovation, and we're dealing with business. Creating a business. We're dealing with.
Hey,
And
that's
I'm
right
and I'm
down
and
the
I'm asking my children right now what positive change they can make. What is their positive impact? And I know that the watch is that kind of positive impact. So if I was to call and say, "Hey, this is brother Thomas Berry, and this is what he's done with his life work as a black man. If even if it was just nothing but a room full of little black boys, I why am I here? Because I know I could call Thomas Berry in a room full of little black boys, and he would not scare them or make. He would enlighten them. He would empower and engage them. And so that's why I'm here. Let's get it popping. And I'm here
So
for whatever we're talking about.
to speak on that, whatever we got the agenda. Don't act like we ain't talk. We had the agenda, but to speak on that. So on my flight, there was a little boy. He's probably three. He was three because I asked his mother. This badass little boy. He was full of energy all over the place. He climbing all over the shit. He messing with people behind him. He's messing with people in front of him. He's a badass little boy.
Yeah.
Like, so it got to the point where I asked, I said, hey, you want him to sit with me? Because I can check him. Because she also had a newer born little girl. The girl she was probably 8 months, something like
Yeah.
that. And she was like, no, because he really go off if if he was with you. I was like, okay, well, look, it's better he go off and be upset than him hit his head or get yanked out of this damn plane. Well, I'm sorry, up to the ceiling, not yanked out of the plane, but up to the ceiling because he ain't got his damn seatbelt on. Because that boy didn't wear his seatbelt the entire flight. He was literally standing up in the chair, walking around like he was on the ground. And I'm like, yo. But, I exchanged some words with him. She didn't stop me. I was in a store earlier in the week and some little kid dropped something and I said to him, "Hey man, you need to pick that up because somebody falls." And his parents were like, "Yo, thank you. It takes a village." And I say all that to say it takes a village, y'all. Like we will be so much better off when we get back to where we were, which
But
is understanding that you can't do this whole thing by yourself.
what happens when the village is retarded?
There you
Okay,
go.
because they called
Happy
security on
hours.
this lady twice and she still came back up there talking about why her baby. And I said, well, ma'am, when they call security, it's because there's a particular energy you bring to a pre existing business or institute or establishment, and it's not allowed. It's against the rules and regulations of that place. Who the fuck is you? Never mind, ma'am. Have a good day. And it's like,
Now I know why. Now I know why they call security. You just showed everybody why they call
you
security. What you
cannot. But then
was she wearing the bonnet? Was she wearing the bonnet?
she
Some
was wearing she was
pajama
wearing some.
pants.
Hey, you would have liked it, Lee. She had on her Lululemons, baby. She had on that a Lululemon adjacent, cause I don't really know what the real
What the
shit
hell is
is. And with,
Lululemon? What is that?
hey man, Barry, tell them what's going down.
I don't know what Lulu.
Both y'all don't know what Lululemons are.
I'm 50
Lululemon.
plus. I do not involve
Hi,
myself in
you
stuff like that.
know it. You know it. You just don't know you know it.
Okay, so
It's
what is
it's
it?
it's it's athletic wear with the spandex built into the wear, so it pull the stomach back and it lift the booty cheeks based on the fabric sewing pattern. So it was the good stuff where it looks, it's the yoga gear, but with the spandex in it.
Oh, okay. I
It's
got you.
man,
I
just
got you.
type in motherfucking Lululemon. In
Oh,
this
I
day
will.
and age,
I
type
will.
in the goddamn Lululemon. You see all them, but type
So
in type
real,
in
so
real
XXL so you can get the good stuff.
let me
Anyway,
have it.
a real
So
life.
here's my thing, and I said that on purpose. Like everybody know I'm an ass man. Just love it. It should be sold in the store by the pound. But since it ain't, I just like to look at it. And I
Right.
really appreciate it too. The older I get though, the less I'm focused on that. I'm really more focused on what I consider the energy that is in the room. And if that energy is inviting, if that energy is warm, I still want it to be complimented with a nice booty, but I don't need that no more. I don't. I'm not focused on that. Not to go down the rabbit hole because we got real shit to talk about in
Oh
the
no,
show.
I think that goes into our conversation
Right.
because I think
But
one of the things that I've learned as I've gotten older as a man, and the more focused I've gotten and driven that I've gotten, you worry less about that.
yes,
Like like
absolutely.
like your whole thing when you get to a certain point is not thinking of conquering the world through a woman's vagina. You're not thinking that
Right.
you have to sleep with an X amount of women, even though you can.
Right.
It does not necessarily make you feel like you've done something after a certain point. You kind of mature out of that hunter mode, and then you want to either be a builder of a sort. And so for me, because we're talking about, love and violence. And what I see, I was saying this to someone yesterday, especially what took place in the two places that we were talking about last week, is if you take both of those men and you listen closely to the story, both men have two different economic backgrounds. One is educated in Virginia, the other brother is not educated in the side of Louisiana. It didn't look like he came from wealth, or did he climb the economic ladder. But the one thing that they did have in common was that they were going through a divorce or they were divorced from two women that they wanted.
Mm.
And I want to emphasize this because sometimes the same thing that makes you want to get in a relationship can be a hindrance when it's time to hit the ejection button. Because those men, for all intents and purposes, maybe they were cheating on the women. One brother had 8 kids. The other brother, they said that he was caught up in a scandal with sexual assault. And that's why he was about to have to step down. But they wanted those 2 women. I want to point that out. And the rejection of the idea that the women were saying, "Hey, we crossed the threshold, and I'm done." They could not understand that. And I feel like there has to be a dialogue and a discussion, and it works both ways. That when it does come to that point, that there can be an amicable split without someone's life being in danger, someone's physical self not being in danger, and then the person who may not initiated the divorce or the person who didn't initiate the split, them being able to get some level of counseling or conversation to be able to get them through that process. And we have to do a better job as society and not let people live on that ledge alone, because that's what we've turned it into. It's more like we've turned into the Inquirer. We'd rather gossip about the situation and not necessarily look at the possible dangers that could come from a split or even infidelity. There's women who've seen husbands who cheat, and we had one where one woman ran over her husband like several times with his daughter in the back seat after she caught him coming out of a hotel with his mistress. And so um we have to do a better job in dealing with those situations, affairs of the heart. But once you get to a certain threshold, it's not about the multitude, it's about a specific one or those specific ones. I don't know, depending on
So I'll jump in before Rashi jumps in. I will say this too, to add build where you're going, and we'll continue. And I got the statistics and all that stuff written down, and we'll go through all that.
Mhm.
I've had some good pussy in my life. I ain't had no pussy though that has ever made me want to kill somebody. I will tell you that I'm not them. Obviously,
Mhm.
I have been hurt.
Mhm.
I have been played. It is a real thing.
Mhm.
I don't know what made these men snap. I don't know what made these men do what they did.
Mhm.
I hope to never find that.
Mhm.
I hope to always understand that I may have lost in this moment, but I can rebuild. Though it may take some time, I can rebuild and I will be all right.
Mhm.
May not be great because, to your point, Thomas, she may be the very one that I wanted or needed, but I will be okay.
Mhm.
I have to trust in myself enough to do that.
Yeah.
What we also need to talk about is we need to trust in ourselves and believe in ourselves enough to know that, or to reach out for help when we recognize the person that we're with is not good for us.
Mhm.
You can't love a person back to health whom does not see themselves worthy of health. You can't love a person back to healing or understanding or appreciating themselves if they don't see no value in themselves. This is when we all have to make sure that when we're getting with people, we take the time as best we can to get to know them and see them in various seasons.
Yeah.
Jumping into something with somebody just because of whatever,
Yeah.
because it's been 90 days, because you had sex on the first date, because of this, that, third, whatever. It's not smart. It's not a recipe for success. It's a recipe for disaster. And I won't say more often than not, because there have been people that have worked it out. There have been a lot of people that have worked it out and worked through all those things, and they're very happy, healthy, and successful in what their relationship is. But we've also seen the other side in which it just doesn't work. We all know the bitterness that comes from both parties when it doesn't work. You know, uh, women may be more vocal in their bitterness, Men, I think, are more
Silence,
action.
silence.
They're right, but then you take a dude that's been burned and you turn him into a hoe, because now he's just trying to fuck everything that moves in order to say, ain't nobody gonna play me again. Now he's apprehensive of ever letting anybody get close again. So that in lies its own problem. It comes with its own
Hmm.
issue, right?
Hmm.
But I want to stick with the point and the theme. We got to get to know people as best we can before we truly boo them up. And the only way to get to know them is to actually spend some time with them. The only way to get to know them is to actually talk to them. Again, I get on my soapbox about this texting shit. Stop texting people and talk to them. You are not going to know how someone reacts, behaves through a text message, because whatever you're reading is filtered through your emotions, not theirs. Whatever you're reading is filtered through your circumstance, not theirs. You know what I'm saying? Um, unless they type your ass in all caps, then you know what the hell going on. You know, or they hit you with the whole damn book, and it looks like an encyclopedia when you open that mug. Like, man, I'm not reading that shit. And so they're upset. There are some indicators of how people are feeling, but for the most part, you really can't tell just from reading a message. But
No.
again, get to know people, spend time with them, be in their face, be in their space, see how they behave when you're in their space, see how they behave when you're in their place, and let them do the same for you and with you.
Yeah.
There's nothing easy about putting two people together who were not raised in the same home, who do not have the same values, who do not have the same shared like experiences. Because again, you can have the same beliefs, but that doesn't mean you have the same experience in life.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that shape us to be individuals, and it's okay for us to be together, but still maintain a degree of our individuality. That is healthy. That is 100% healthy. That don't mean you get to go do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it all the time. No, but it does mean that you are at least given some space to
Hmm.
be you. You are at least given a place to be you. Be it a man cave, be it a game room, be it a random Tuesday night or Monday night football when you go out and watch the game, or Sunday night baseball, whatever.
Hmm.
If that's your thing, whatever it is that makes you you, you still deserve that space even when you're in a relationship. Again, that don't mean you get to do whatever the fuck you want to do whenever you want to do it. But it does mean that you should be allowed some space to still be you.
That's right.
Rashi, was she slow on taking the mute off?
Sorry,
I think she
sorry
was.
about that. You know how I go. I believe you all are working from a false premise. I would like to back us all the way up to the idea of getting to know anyone ever. I don't believe that's real, personally. And even if it was real, whatever you knew on Monday may not exist by Friday. The fundamentals may be there, but the essence of the person that you thought you coded for on Monday is not the person you may necessarily get by Friday. And that is a good thing. That is a good thing. It is not a bad thing. People should be allowed a little bit of behavioral room. There should be a spectrum of behavior available and acceptable, as long as, of course, they don't, as we say in the medical field, hurt themselves or others. You are allowed to do and be whatever it is manifesting in your spirit. Now, who can you control? Yourself. And
Right.
once you begin to control yourself, all you do is you eliminate or you accept certain people within your reality, and they work, if they mesh with what's going on and what's acceptable in your boundary of behaviors, then that's your peeps. And I'm not talking about blood. And if they keep and show repeatedly that they are unable to operate and exist in the realm of behavioral boundaries that keep you safe, then you are not going to be around me. I mean, I don't, if I can help it, if I can help it.
Mhm.
And so that's all you can control is with yourself. You really can fall in love with whoever you want to. You can fall in lust with whoever. What you can fall in lust with whatever you want to, not just whoever. Did you hear what I said?
I heard what you said. That's why I was like, "Ooh,
No, no,
have
no, no,
mercy."
no, 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 no.
I'm in
This
lust
is
with
when you
shopping.
this is when you start truly opening up your ideology to the full spectrum of human behavior. Because it's a dude right now trying to put his penis in a dolphin. You think I'm being funny? Type in man dolphin relationship. It's gonna pop up on your. Don't type it in because you don't want that thing on your history. Google. I
Yeah, I
mean,
do that.
I don't have a Google history problem. I will type in how to melt a human body down in a heartbeat. But uh 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 what I'm trying to explain to you is this. Truly, you barely got yourself in control. You barely control your own, subliminal desires. And you will never, ever, not your children, not your mama, not your wife, not your ex wife, not your new wife, not your new husband. Nobody is going to feel compelled to do what you said with their life experience. They're only going to do what they feel is best, like you doing what you feel is best. And they either can occupy space in the sphere of your time space existence or they can't. And if they can't, it does hurt. Oh God, it hurts. I've lost so many friends that I wish could have conformed to the behavior that I felt was acceptable in my lifetime, but they on that bullshit, and so they had to go. And they probably felt the same thing about me. And that was
What's
after
that?
20, and that could have been 10 years of marriage. That could have been 15 minutes at a conference. That could have been after an illicit lover's tryst. I could have been paid for some hoe shit that I decided to cut the transaction off. All those are different, but all of them did something that made me feel unsafe, or like they was gonna cut my time off, or it wasn't worth it, or something happened, or else they'd be right, or else I would have fostered the time to build the relationship like I do every Saturday from 10 to 12 with my brothers.
Rashi, question. What's that? Don't put stuff on me. Here's the question for you. What is that bullshit? Because you said you cut them off because they were on that bullshit. So what is
All
that
right,
bullshit? And
y'all was
hold
laughing
on,
at me.
let me finish. And then how do you communicate that y'all, if y'all go into this patch of that bullshit, I'm gonna cut you off.
All right, y'all laughed at me last time, and y'all was trying to make joke of it. But when I went into my my then husband, ex husband phone, and I found the repeated messages of him telling multiple women that he wished he had never met me, and that he was this that my house was a hellhole, and that just whatever you say to other. Sometimes it's a weird communication with the other woman, so to make them feel like I don't know. It's a man shit. I don't really understand it, but I know what he was doing.
Okay.
And so when I told you that feeling that I wanted to physically hurt him because I knew I didn't have any ties to him emotionally. There was nothing I could have said to him to tie on his emotional change, and that I was now ready to physically hurt him for what I felt he was doing to me by communicating with people in a way that I felt like was one untrue, for at least for me, and then using that. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about? That book. It's that bullshit, man.
No, no,
Where
I
you
feel,
trying to?
I feel you. I mean, listen, I was laughing at you push the nigga down the steps. That's what I was laughing at. But
Yeah, yeah, for real. She
that,
said I mistakenly pushed it.
but I think anytime you're in a situation where you're giving your all into a relationship with a person, and you find out that that person, that it could be intimate, it can be friendship, or it could be even a coworker, and you feel like you're cool with a person, and you find out that person is talking bad about you behind your back. That is not, it's not saying that like when you and your significant other or coworker have a disagreement, they may say something to somebody else about it. But when you know people are saying things to diminish your character as a person, that hurts. It definitely.
Right, right. When you have naturalized, when you have gathered documents to naturalize them, you stood in a food line in order to feed them. You excluded. You reformed your whole ways in order to make sure they felt Now that you laughing again, but I'm telling you, I'm trying to explain something to you.
I'm just when you say you reform your whole ways, that is hilarious to me, Rashi. I don't even see you in that light at all. So whenever you say it, it's just funny to me because I'm like, Rashi, like
Yeah.
how?
Okay,
Like that's
I'm the oldest fatherless girl. I've been
gotcha.
responsible for shit my whole life. I've been put in an adult role my whole life. And back in the day, I was a cold piece. I had the hourglass figure with a 5-star brain. I'm not no bird brain bitch. And so men were attracted to the idea that they could have an adult conversation with a piece that had that horse ass with the upright titties. And it was
Mm,
a call. It was a call, and it was a price that I had to pay long term after I realized it's a subliminal superpower that some women have that I'm so glad I aged out of and had to come up with something fucking else to do with my character and personality than playing with simple-minded motherfuckers for an opportunity to do some shit that I could have did myself if I wanted to get the money. I'm not trying.
No, Rashi,
gotcha.
I hear you 100%.
I
What you're
got you.
saying is outside of the ways that you're saying that, hey, I became a better person to be with you, and this is how you're
I,
tapping my
I
character.
I'm educated. I'm not. I told you that. I told all them fools to sit down. All them old cat daddies, go ahead, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I took care of the children of the union.
Mm-hmm.
They are educated and fed. Even if it was a pantry food, I cooked it up. I put some garlic powder in that shit,
That's a paprika.
and some paprika. And so when I'm telling you that you have my national identity as an African American, where I am sharing that with you to naturalize you as a person of this nation.
Yeah.
I didn't put the coin purse up. Ain't nobody opening up the coin purse but you. The pocketbook they call it. That's the old heads. Y'all don't know nothing about that. I put the pocketbook up.
Right.
I educated myself so that I'm not a liability long term. And I
Mm-hmm.
took my stupid ass to the doctor so you don't have to worry about me being tittyless with no uterus and all this other shit to go down. And more importantly, I put that thing in there so it ain't no baby falling out every 9 months because you could tame a freak but you don't kill it. You know what I'm saying? You could
Mm.
pull it back, but within a union the behavior happens within the union. The consequences are unsolicited breeding action that you cannot afford, and then they start looking at you like they don't want to touch you because something fall out every time. And
Mm.
that ain't who I was anyway. I was a global traveler when I was a young girl. That's what was in my mind frame. What you do, Lee, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you put all that up, and then you find out somebody saying they wish they had never seen you or met you, and then
Yeah.
they get their finances, they get themselves educated, and they get their own place, and
Mm-hmm.
they get ready to divorce, and then they don't see the babies as much, and
Mm-hmm.
it is such an abuse of lifetime energy, and it just hurts so bad.
Yeah.
But then the alternative, Tom, Miss, is you sitting there talking about, no, he mine. That's my man, my man, my man, my man, my man, my man, my man. And then you just look stupid. You look
No,
stupid in them streets.
it plays on your pride, and I think that's what happens in a lot of these situations is that people don't like getting played as fools, and it can go either which way for no matter what the sex is. And I do feel like everybody has a responsibility. I saw yesterday they said we protect the sisters, and then we got to protect the sisters first, and then we got to make sure that the brothers get the help. And I'm like, I think you might need this Negro to get the help first, so then we can get the sister the protection. Because what happens is in our society, what we don't know is if a person is not well, I don't care how far you put somebody else or you call yourself protecting somebody else, they will kamikaze and kill the protection if they're not well. A lot of things that we say online is a comfort. And I always say this, people are comfortable because they're not in the positions. When you get in certain positions, it may seem that way, but it is not a it's not a catch-all situation. I've lost three sisters that I was cool with in a lifetime to a death due to intimate violence, right? One got set on fire and pushed inside of her bath tub to burn inside of Arkansas.
Gosh.
I had another who man got out of prison, and not only did he show up and kill her outside of her job, he drove to her home and killed her mother. And I had another situation with another friend who got shot in the back, and she's a beautiful twin. And now her sister is out here raising her sons, or raised her sons, and it went from those two to its only one. So I say to people all the time, you know, we live in a society where the gossip is more better than helping people. It's the reason why I created the watch, because when that sister was on Facebook last year saying that her ex was stalking her and he's going to kill her, people on Facebook was just asking questions to be nosy. Nobody asked her, do you need help? Where are you at? Do you want me to come and help you? Nobody asked that, because it's not set for that. It's set up for people to sit online and judge you, talk they shit, and tell you what they would have and what you should have done. And we do that too much in our community. And it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback. But when you talk about relationships, people's emotions are involved. And I'm saying this as a person who's been cheated on and a person who's cheated. Either side of the coin, somebody's going to be pissed the fuck off. And it can end up with somebody losing their life. And we don't talk about, as human beings, how responsible we are for how we make other people feel. I'm listening to what Rashi is saying, and I'm like, my heart goes out to Rashi, because
Yeah.
listen to what she's saying. These are the sacrifices and the things I did to make life comfortable for you. But behind my back, you telling motherfuckers I'm, like this
I'm
is
shit. I ain't shit.
you. I
And
ain't.
they keep telling people I'm crazy, and I'm like that.
But hold on,
Quit telling
Rashi.
people. Okay.
When you push the man down the steps, that was a little crazy behavior right there. So I
No,
mean,
well then, no. If
She
you
pushing
first
out.
of all, to
She
know
pushing
me,
out the steps
both
after that.
you
After that
don't.
point,
It was after that. It was
oh,
after that.
so he deserved that. So listen, after that point, he probably deserved getting his ass pushed down the
But
steps.
here's my thing. How long did you know before you knew I was crazy? This is the thing I'm saying. Don't wait 10 years later, 15 years later, motherfucker.
so
You had 10. I give people 10
this is
damn
statute of
minutes.
limitations on the crazy,
You
bro.
get 10 minutes. By the time you know me, if you ain't figured out I'm crazy, it's on you. It's on you. Because I am incapable of not laying it out there. I lay my shit on it. It'd be like bring my wares be out on the table. I whatever I got to offer is out there. So if you come out, and then I found out she was crazy. Bullshit, cap, as a kid say cap, you like it like that. You knew it. You get 10 minutes. You get 10 minutes into a broadcast on this show for you go, okay. So when you use it as the reasoning for why you feel like you got to get out of a relationship 15 years later,
Yeah,
that's that bullshit.
yeah. No, no,
I
no.
feel that.
Listen, no, nobody. They say everybody plays a fool, but the truth is nobody wants to play the fool, and I feel like that's part of the human experience that we don't really talk enough about. And when we see these violent outbreaks, I I hate that we're making this about black men, because
All right, fit land, and I'll give the statistics so we can get into that. To your
because
point, go ahead.
because I feel like people are being violent in general towards people. And when that
Right.
woman got killed by the white dude over in Africa, there was no psychoanalysis to white men's psyche. No one said to all of you black women who are sleeping with white men, they may kill you. But these situations took place with us. And the first thing you hear, typically from people who don't like heterosexual black men to begin with, that there is a problem with dating or mating with black men because we're crazy. And listen, you ain't met all of us to make that assessment about
Nor
all,
dated all of us, hopefully.
or nor dated. And if you did date all of us, maybe you are the hell that dude was talking about with Rashi. He met the other one, Rashi, that dated everybody. But I'm just saying, I look at it like the propaganda machine starts every so often when we have two of these clutter situations. But when somebody else kills a black woman, or when a black woman kills a black man, nobody is saying sisters need to seek therapy. Nobody's saying that the white man needs to seek therapy.
I did, by the way. After that, I did seek it, but you're right.
All right. So statistically speaking, and I pulled this from the Bureau of Justice Statistics, per 100,000 homicides, white folk make up 3.2%. No, I'm sorry, they're 3.2. I'm sorry. Suicide is 16.8. For black folk, we're 21.3 to 30.6 for homicide. Now we know we out here killing one another. We need to stop that bull crap. For suicide, we make up 7.7 to 8.5. Native Americans native to Alaska are
That's a
4.
new number. Ain't that high? Ain't that new high? I
Yeah,
ain't think we. I was finna say we ain't used to do all that business right there. That's a new
for
high.
again per 100,000 folk, 14.2 for homicide for Native Americans and Native folks from Alaska, and 23.9 to 36.2 as far as suicides are concerned. With respect to gender, males are 12.6 for homicide and suicide are 22 even. Females, 2.6 to 2.9 per 1,000 folk for homicide and 5.5 for suicide. Now, when we talk about sexual orientation, because I wanted to get into this part as well, I wanted to dig into that a little bit. Suicide, 2.3 to 3.1 for the LGBT. I'm sorry, the LGBT community is 2.2 to 3.1 higher than a straight woman. Homicides amongst bisexual women are 2.3 times more than bisexual men and 7 times the rate of straight women. Intimate partner relation homicides. Now this was dicey. 63.1% of lesbians, and 73.7% of bisexual women are victims of intimate partner homicide, compared to 45% for straight women. Male to male, some research suggests homicide rates may be higher relative to lesbian or heterosexual couples. There's no percentage given for that. Domestic violence, 25% to 35% of people in same sex relationships experience domestic violence, compared or slightly higher than that of women in heterosexual relationships. And to say that again, domestic violence, 25 to 35% of people in same sex relationships are likely to experience domestic violence, compared to that of women in heterosexual relationships. Bisexual individuals report the highest rates of both violent victimization and suicidal idi- uh, ideation. Trans folk experience suicide hazard at 2.77 times greater than cisgender individuals. Last stat is 25%. I'm sorry, in 2025, 90% of reported trans murders were femicides targeting trans women. Marlon said, "Lee, that is a big number. I'm not sure which number you're talking about. Be a little more specific because I gave a lot, and then we can talk about that one. But regardless, I've said it time and time again. Yes, we all need to look out for one another. Them studs is violent. Ooh, them studs be getting it in. Like, I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, the same sex numbers. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's what I wanted to go back to. Not to deflect from the violence that is happening from men to women, specifically in our community. But I want everybody to be clear about what's really going on out there and who's doing what to whom. Domestic violence isn't cool at any stage. I don't think anyone deserves to get their hands put on unless they put their hands on you first. I don't think any woman should be putting her hands on a man. I don't think any man should be putting his hands on a woman. I'll shake the hell out your ass, but I ain't gonna hit you. I will. I'll walk away from you.
You sound
That's
like Bernie Mac. I
right,
remember
right.
that skit where he shook that mic so fast.
Hell out your ass, but I ain't gonna hit you. But nah. In all honesty, man, like we shouldn't be putting our hands on one another at all. It's not. It's just not worth it to me.
But
But I do with a whole lot to lose, and I ain't trying to go down like that.
can we go back to the data though? And I think the data is a different conversation than the propaganda that's spread online.
Absolutely.
And I think that it's very important to know up until 2005, African American men suffered the highest percentage for interpersonal violence per 100,000 up until 2005. And Black women today suffer at a rate per 100,000 of 1.4 to 1.6 in interpersonal violence, and Black men's is at 1.0. Not too far, and we're highest amongst all other male groups. So that's not talked about, and that's when you start talking about the other aspect. We talked about same sex as well as bisexual, and then those rates compared to heterosexual women. Well, if you listen to the conversation online, you would think that heterosexual women are the main ones that are being murdered
And
by
getting
the
beat
partner
down.
and beat
Right.
down. And when you listen to the statistics, you see per capita, it's a lot more. Where's the campaign for that? Oh, but heterosexual Black men don't have no union, or they don't have an organization that hides the facts. Let's go deeper. When you talk about femicide or trans being murdered, I remember working in a group home, y'all. I was supervisor of a group home. We had this gay cat that was inside of it. He had HIV. But this dude would always find these men as a prostitute to bring back to the place. And I would be off on the weekends. So my staff would call me and I would have to come. Brothers that 6'3", 6'4", chiseled up, that looked like they were married and heterosexual, right? If that person would have done something to that young man, they would have said that that was them killing him for a hate crime. The truth of the matter is, them brothers are on the down low, and what most heterosexual men would consider homosexual. It's no matter what he's calling himself, he is acting in homosexual acts, and he's killing someone because he doesn't want that secret to come out. Same thing with trans men who are dealing with men who are sleeping with them, or trans women. I'll make sure I keep the labels because people love to argue about semantics. But for trans women, they are typically being killed by people who are sleeping with them secretly. And those people don't want to be outed. And they throw them into a heterosexual bucket. But the truth of the matter is, if you are a man, if you are a man sleeping with a transgender woman, you are typically LGBTQ plus. You are in that queer category. You're not in the heterosexual category. Last point, Black men, y'all clown and talk about Jordan, and y'all defend Jordan, LeBron, and all these people to your last dying breath. What we don't do is we don't stand on, we don't protect, we don't keep sacred Black malehood. Y'all think everything is a fucking joke. And what you're seeing online, the constant conversation when these things are coming up, this is how you can annihilate a group. When you can keep pointing out how violent they are, when you can keep pointing out how shiftless they are, how they don't contribute. See, it starts off with the deadbeat dad conversation. Then it comes to they beat women, they kill women, they rape women, they don't contribute to society. then subconsciously, what happens to people who come across you is that you are worthless. And if I kill you, I'm doing society a favor. I need you, brothers and others, to take what you say online more seriously. Don't just post shit, share shit, and say shit because you want Zuckerberg's money. And I'm not seeing that. I don't see brothers, even all the way to the Roland Martin standard, taking this a lot more serious. And I appreciate Roland Martin because he did do a show where he brought a specialist on to talk about interpersonal violence. And I'm not saying Roland is wrong. I'm just saying other people on his level, they're not taking it. I don't take Mark Lamont Hill and what he talks about with black men serious. Mark Lamont Hill has some man issues. Gary Chambers have some man issues. And we have to understand that there are black men who have black male issues. And that they call us the usual suspects 100%. And we're not the usual suspects. And I need that to be said from us. We got to stop sisters in the track. You don't get to speak for us. You don't get to tell us what a real man is, what a real man does, and how a real man feels. That's on us to decide that. We can't tell you what a real woman does, is, and how she feels neither. But black men, we got to step up and tell our story, because if not, we keep letting these people define us. Look at what the data says. Lee just ran off the stats.
They will write us out.
The stats ain't lying, but in the root or the griot.com, why did they write about us 10 years ago about the black man being the white woman of the black race? See, this is the funny shit that people do. And that was a queer man who wrote that article. See, that's the kind of stuff that nobody checks or nobody goes and says anything about. And then we as men, what we say is we just staying out the way. We don't want no part of the conversation. But anytime something, soon as brother did what he did in Virginia, what we supposed to do? We supposed to attack him, talk bad about him, drag him through the river. Oh, the brother inside of Western, look, he got 8 kids. He should have kept his pecker in his pants. We have no sympathy, no empathy for the man. They said he was struggling with his mental health. He was trying to get help. He did not get help.
I want to talk to that. So, God willing, I'm blessed with this other 20% from the VA. Because I'm telling you, this media thing for me is going to change. I will have a whole lot more time to focus on doing this at a totally different level. I say that because there was a hit piece, and I call it a hit piece because of how it started. New York Times author wrote about the tragedy in Louisiana, and the first thing he calls the brother was a maniac. Now, I understand this was a travesty. I understand and do not agree with the actions that the brother took. That brother was an Army veteran, and he clearly was seeking help, and he could not get what he needed. I'm not saying that as an excuse for him or what he did. I'm not agreeing with what he did. But let me tell you something. I will forever stick up for my brothers and sisters in arms. I know what that life is about. And if your ass ain't never put on that uniform, if your ass ain't never been forward deployed, if your ass ain't never been through boot, and I don't give a damn what boot you went through, shut the hell up because you don't know what you're talking about. That whole situation is set up to destroy you so they can rebuild you in the image that they need to be in. None of us come out of that situation the same. I refuse to agree with that. None of us. I don't give a damn what we've been through. None of us come out of that thing the same. We all have a little PTSD just to come out of that by itself. And if that brother has actually been in combat and seen some things, and the only ray of hope that he had in his life was his wife, yet he comes back home and his wife is saying, "You need to go. I no longer want to be married to you." We can slip into some bad places. Because I'm telling you from personal experience, when you are off we call the United States the world. When you're away from the world, the only thing you got is home. It's the only thing you got. That's what you hold on to every day. So if he came back and his world was leaving him, that's a problem. Again, it's a problem that, God willing, the creek don't rise, most of us get handled. That's not true. I think some of us get handled. Most of us just eat it. And we eat it, but we display destructive behavior. It's the drinking, it's the smoking, it's the shopping, it's the eating. It's destructive behavior in one way or another. You know, we never understand you all. We never understand you all. We understand our lingo. We understand one another. We adjusting to civilian life is hard for most of us. We just never get it. We never get it. We'll move through it, but we never really get it. You know. So yeah, I'm pissed about the article. I'm trying to figure out how to address it best. I didn't want to do a hit piece on him. I have tried to find him on Instagram, Twitter, or something like that. I half heartedly did it. I think I'm gonna do it again so I could shoot to him some information and some facts. But yeah, dog, don't come for my folks. Not like that. You know, this is a travesty. It it is a situation where there are two families negatively impacted from this: the victims, without a doubt, and the perpetrator, without a doubt. But there's a third family that takes a hit with that too. That's that military family. That's that veteran community. Because some folks will only need an excuse to look at us negative. And that's just another excuse for them to look at us negative. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's man, I wasn't happy about that. I'm still not happy about it. He needed help. He didn't get the help. Unfortunately, he behaved in the manner in which he behaved, and it cost a lot of people their lives. That's a very unfortunate situation. Hopefully, this is a situation that some good can come out of it because the VA is doing some magnificent things right now. I think they're doing a piss poor job as far as mental health is concerned. And the sad part is, yet again, we have our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, guardians, um, coasties deployed forward over some bullshit that they don't need to be there for. We were just fine before the first missile was launched. Um, and you know, people are gonna call you names forever. You can say what you want to say, but just don't bring it to me. You ain't bringing it to me, I'm gonna let you be. You bring it to me, I'm gonna make you understand that you should have never stepped across my threshold or to my face. So yeah, uh, I needed to get that out. I wanted to get that out.
I'm
I've
glad you got it
been
out.
feeling that. Yeah, I've been feeling that all damn week, dog. I've been feeling that all week. You
Yeah,
know, and again, I'm not excusing what the man did.
yeah.
I'm not even saying that I understand. I'm saying clearly that he needed help. He sought help. He didn't get the help he needed. He went to a dark place. I can understand how that could happen to someone whom has laced those boots and had to salute,
And,
without a doubt.
and can we just start having compassion for people even when they do horrific stuff like that? Because you know someone is not in their right mind. That's another thing with mental health in this country that I personally don't feel like we have enough grace for. You know, it's what somebody calls the cute version of mental health, where it's a little bit of depression here and there, like depression, a little bit of anxiety. But manic episodes I never talked about when someone is a paranoid schizophrenic or manic bipolar. That's the part it can't be cute. and you watch people, and we had this conversation about the young man in Chicago, and you watched him, and I'm like, y'all really think this man gave up a $10 million a year job to go protest gay marriage? Do you really think that's what that is? I know some of y'all out there don't want gay folks to be married, and I'm not here to argue, debate that. But think about the logic of what you're saying. You really think Kanye West wanted to lose billions of dollars to talk about Jewish people? You think somebody with a sane mind, think about your sane mind and what you may not type, what you may not say, because you have a filter based off of
Your sanity,
your sanity. But
your groundedness.
when you go insane, and I've lived with a paranoid schizophrenic, I've seen what a paranoid schizophrenic that he was saying and doing anything. He would say the first thing that came to his mind. It was my brother-in-law, and I would just watch, and so I understand the difference, and it makes me have compassion for people because it's one thing I never experienced the military, but I did experience the ghettos of America, and you start running across all kinds of people who have PTSD, who have who suffer from manic bipolar, and not the kind of stuff that we say with girls because she may be, on her menstrual and then she's a little bit grumpy. We're talking about people who really have.
Say that too.
No, we don't. No, we don't. But we talking about people who have long manic episodes where they have no control. I was saying this to a friend of mine that was a therapist, and fellas, y'all all know this. Y'all all know this. If y'all honest, y'all gonna admit we all knew the girl in our community that brothers would run trains on. If you knew that girl was a manic bipolar person and she was just going through a mental health break, you think people would have been lining up to put their pecker inside of her? No.
Brother Barry, I think you finna touch on. I'm gonna let you finish, but I wanna please put a pin in it for me, please. I wanna ask you something.
Okay. All right. I'll finish. I'm just saying it's not talked about from the aspect of her mental health not being right. The conversation is that she's fast. And they're not
Cheesy.
and they're not even having that conversation with the kids in health class or sex ed about somebody going through a psychosis breakdown. They're not even teaching us to be aware of our mental health and how to protect ourselves from it. And I see women online having manic breakdowns. I see brothers online having manic breakdowns. But I will tell you again, if you knew that sister was going through a mental health crisis and we were talking about it from an educated aspect, I think young men would not line up to run up in her because our nature is typically to take care of each other. It's almost saying this person is not well and we know she's not well. And if I know she ain't well, you know she's not well. Now you look like a predator running up in her. 7 of y'all running up in her at one time, 2 of y'all running up in her one time, 1 of y'all running up in her at one time, and you don't know that she's just going through this manic episode. So, Sister Raji, I'll put a pin in it. That's my take on it.
All right, okay. I'm glad you went there, okay? Because this is something I was discussing with a friend the other day and ended up even discussing it with the children in the classroom. And it's that the idea of the protected members of our society, and we decide to protect them based on our judgment of their cognitive level. I use the example of my crazy Uncle Bubba. All right. Also a paranoid schizophrenic, Thomas.
Mhm.
As a child, you could have found my Uncle Bubba walking down the street with a pot of macaroni. But also, you had to understand that the sexual brain, the active sexual brain, it's not executive functioning in the front. It's part of our heartbeat brain. It's part of our breathing brain. It's part of our basic, most cognitive level. And so when they can't tie their shoes, they can still masturbate. You hear me what I'm saying? When they can't make even a pack of new-news, they can still stick things in their vagina for that basic human reproductive sensation that happens in that. And I hate to name it this. Somebody else named it this, brothers, but it's called the lizard brain. The lizard brain. There's the executive adult Homo sapien brain, and then there's the smaller back in the, towards the back of the brain, lizard brain. And it's in the lizard brain where sexual um, the call for sexual behavior originates. And in the front we give it all kind of special spice and seasoning, but the actual call that something sexual should be happening to my body, it's back, it's way back in the back. So look, back in the day we would recognize that and we would do sick shit like sterilize women, right?
Mm-hmm.
We would castrate and not castrate. What they call the we would vasectomy the dudes, and we would tie the tubes of the girls or whatever, and we would feed them something called saltpeter. We would introduce something called saltpeter into their food. Okay, you think I'm being weird? I did
No,
shit.
I'm smiling because they give the same thing to us during basic training to keep us leveled and not all horny and going crazy in basic training. They give us saltpeter during basic.
Okay, all right. So you with me, brother? Okay, so now we used to say, all right, that person there cannot be touched sexually because it's essentially raping a child. It's essentially basically a non-consent. They can't give consent. They don't know what consent is, and they don't know how to give it. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
when you touch these individuals, you're touching a child, even in adult form, even if they're 67 years old. If their cognition is off, you still touching a child with gray hair. Is still a child. Okay. All right. So now we touch the children. So why can't we touch the specials? We already fucking the kids. So now the specials are open now, and now you have women who are creating children, or you have men who are creating families using that. And I sound like a crazy white eugenics person, and I'm not one of them people, but they're using DNA and understanding and reasoning that comes from a compromised space. So that's why we used to say don't mess with them, but now we can touch them. Now because we can control them, we don't mind touching them.
I don't
And
think.
and that's what it is, brother Barry. I yes, they're gonna run that fucking train on that retarded girl.
I don't think so.
Yes, they will.
No, no, Rashi. I'm gonna tell you. No, they would not, because you don't. The reason why dudes typically do it is the cool point. That the part of the matter that what we haven't talked, and I say this all the time about social media, is that the kids from the other hall that you didn't go to class in is on Facebook with you. They're part of your friends list. And you may have forgotten that they were on that smaller bus and they went to class in that other hallway, but it shows up in the dialogue and discussion, the obsession over certain facts, the people who just prompt up on your post arguing with you for no reason at all. You haven't said 5 words to this person, and the first time they comment on your page, they're commenting with an insult. They have no filter. And I would say the same thing about sex. Listen, I dealt with a woman, and I mean, beautiful sister, beautiful sister. You wouldn't have thought about it. Beautiful sister, come from a great family, a lot of them, but a great family. And she was manic. And by the time I figured out she was manic, I was like, oh shit. Because you don't ask people, are they paranoid schizophrenic when you meet them, or are you manic bipolar? I would hang out with her from time to time, and sometimes I wouldn't hang out with her. Then sometimes I would hang out with her. And you don't ask, is this person? I mean, she was fine, she was functional. I knew where she worked. She could cook well. The whole At the end of the day, though, her manic personality after me got her into situations that she struggled with. And I feel like we should talk more about that, and also in these relationships and how they're ending, and never discount the fact that some of these people pre are suffering from mental health, and we're not just We push people aside, and it reminds me of this joke Paul Mooney said. He said, "You got two people, black man and a white man. They got multiple personalities. The white man commits murder, goes to court. The judge and the prosecutor say, 'Oh, I feel sorry for him. He has multiple personalities. Look at those personalities. Oh man, we're just gonna put him in a mental facility. Get well, brother.' Brother
Mm.
comes in, he got 21 split personalities, and they said we're gonna put all 21 of them motherfuckers on trial and prosecute to the fullest." And what you see on social media from us, I'm not talking to white people. I'm talking about how we show up and how we treat people. I'm not saying all people won't sleep with that girl if she's manic, but I do believe that the brothers that grew up with her in her neighborhood who see her as a person that they probably admire. That's why they want to sleep with her in the first place, because they think she's fine, they think she's cute, but they also don't know that she has this weakness that she was born with, not something that she did to herself. Because when you're running a train on a girl, you're thinking that girl is giving you permission. If you knew the word that you said, Rashi, if I use that word again, if you think this girl's retarded, you ain't gonna even want to run up in her because you don't get no cool points for running up in her. That's a discount. Now, that might mess up. Some people will say, well, hey, her social setting with the community may be off, but you know what? She may be safer. She may be able to get certain things under control. And if we understood when we saw that, even if it's not her, if that was just a conversation in our community, let's not personalize it. Let's say that, hey, when you typically see a woman and she's okay with five dudes running in her at the same time, something's off with her mental health. If we taught young men that at a young age when they started having puberty and got horny, then they will be able to look for those signs to say, yo, no, this ain't consent. No different than we tell her if she's drunk, she can't consent. What happens if her mental's not straight? She can't consent. I just think it would be better for society. And I'll say it again, when people go through these episodes, just like we call that woman fast or a whore, we do the exact same thing with these men when they start killing. We start saying that they're a danger to society. He had a choice. He didn't make the choice. Oh, he should have sought help. Well, brother in Louisiana was trying to seek help. He couldn't get it. What's our response to him? Fella inside of Virginia, I think he climbed up a ladder that was so high that it wasn't typical for black people to go. He felt lonely in that process. Well, who could he turn to that could understand what he's going through? He probably didn't feel like he could turn to nobody. And when he was probably trying, I'm pretty sure people were saying, just pray. It'll all pass over.
Just leave it to Jesus. He'll work through it for you. You know, um, Rashi, if you don't have anything else to add there, we can pivot to the
All I
next
can
subject.
tell you is that last statement you had said something, the song in my head, Jesus can work it out. Anyway, I do want to tell you that the relationships we have in amongst each other are not fabricated. They're organic. They're organic and they are relationships based on stress and struggle. We in struggle love, baby. That
Yeah,
struggle love is different. That struggle love bring in economic shit. It bring in disease and blended families, and that struggle love is the beast, baby. But when you can work out struggle love, the people who I know who have created a decent family with that shit going on in a family with people being fired and uneducated and blah blah whatever the struggle is. Them are them real hitters, and that's who I gravitate to. And I just appreciate people who are able to keep it tight. That's all. And in that vein, talking about relationships, can we now talk about our global relationships, Lee,
absolutely.
and how we
I was
are
gonna I
looked
was
at?
gonna pivot to that. So you got it. Transition. You are fine.
I'm waiting on my lesson, man. Come on.
Oh. So he was talking about killing tonight, and I was going to ask, um, so what do we do about Trump? Because this idiot just gave a kill order to the Navy, talking about destroy anything and everything that moves, small ships, Iranian that lay landmines. But at the same time, he's talking about sending Kushner and who's the other dude that's going, Steve Witkoff
Hmm.
to Lebanon, no Pakistan. My apologies.
Hmm.
To sit down with the Iranian regime to go through peace negotiations. Now, which one is it, dog? I don't get it. How you gonna tell somebody you gonna come up in the house and rob them everything, and then ask them to sit down nicely at the table with you so you can discuss how they can keep you from coming up in the house? I
Worst negotiator, the worst state negotiators that we've ever had. And I want to say this. This is what it's like to have the replacement referees ref the Super Bowl. This is exactly what this is like. And I want people to keep in mind you send Kushner because you're not trying to open the Hormuz because you want business to go back to the rest of the globe. It's because you're trying to get more billions to steal. That's the business guy that you send in to steal more money. And I just wish Congress had a backbone. And I know it's too much to ask for the Republican led Congress. I know it's too much to
They're
ask.
getting kickbacks. So why they want to have a backbone when they all getting kickbacks?
Come on, man. But you know, the sad part about it is that like common sense wise, you attack them during peace negotiations
And Ramadan.
and Ramadan, but peace negotiations alone. I can't sit down and have a peaceful conversation with you when I know you done drop bombs on my head in the middle of it. You are susceptible to drop more bombs on my head while we're negotiating. And I have to be mindful of that. And I just feel like, man, by the time we get done with this Congress, by the time we get done with this president, we will have to rewrite our Constitution. And I don't hear that floated out too much online as far as from the media sphere. But that is something that Americans are going to have a strong conversation with. Terms in Congress, how much money can you, your significant others,
And the Supreme Court.
Supreme Court, as expanding the Supreme Court, as well as giving terms on the Supreme Court and more impeachable offenses by those on the Supreme Court. Because the Supreme Court, in my humble opinion, should be free of any political ideology. They should not be conservative. They shouldn't be not liberal. They should not be any of those things. They should be constitutionalists. They should go by the Constitution and they're supposed to interpret the law from a fair and balanced aspect. But it also needs to be age limits on them too. You need to have a time where we say, "Hey, brother, this ain't no lifetime employment. We'll give you a quarter of a century, but in 25 years, you need to get your ass on." And we should have a federal judge. It should be levels to it. You have to be a federal judge for so long as a federal judge to move up to the Supreme Court, not because your party affiliation, not because of those things, because we're seeing what happens when you have these people in that's grifting. But man, internationally, they're like, yo, our reputation is ass right now. Straight up.
Um, and it gets worse by the damn day. Again, when you have folks out here parading themselves like they are so. What's the boy name? Not
Hexa,
Secretary of War.
Hexa.
Uh, yeah, headset
You gotta say
goes
it the
out.
way you gotta say it the way Rodney
No,
say it now.
see,
Come
I
on
was
now.
trying to remember that,
No,
and
no, not your mama, your big fat flat stupid mama. Wait a minute, you drunk? Oh shit,
see,
Rodney.
your mama called you something headset, whatever.
Oh
This
shit,
fool
Rodney. I'm
goes out.
sorry.
This fool goes out and says it's more of the Europeans' fight to clear the Strait of Hormuz than ours. How the hell that work? But dog, do you not understand that OPEC sets oil prices? That is a global entity. Entity. Who? So Trump touts a couple weeks ago. He said we don't need the oil from the Middle East because we have our own. How? The price is still set by OPEC. We can't set our own oil prices. That ain't gonna happen. Even if we pumped the oil, refined it, and sold it here, gasoline would still be gasoline at gasoline prices, regardless of where the hell it comes from, because OPEC has the authority to set the prices for gasoline. You can't undercut OPEC. That's not how that works. Now, the issue is all these states with their varying laws and gas taxes. Now, that right there, we can have a discussion about. Is it worth doing a cap on state taxes for gas? Do we need to nationalize the tax on gasoline? That would help a whole lot of people because depending on what state you're in, depending on what city you are in that state, gasoline is taxed differently. I've seen gas prices different from three, four damn corners in the same town. Go ahead, Thomas. I'm sorry.
Ahmadinejad said back in the early 2000s when George Bush was president, he said, man, the gas coming from us is still $40 to $60 a barrel. We don't know what happens when it hits your market. We're not raising the price. We're getting the same amount of money. The fact of the matter is, these people start wars, and then they start manipulating the gas prices. And that's something that we have to look at as a country, because we're looking at it like anytime there's a bomb dropped overseas, all of a sudden the prices have to go up. And the people that's selling the oil and the gas is saying, no, man, we ain't getting that cut. It may be traded on Wall Street differently, but we're not getting that cut. And I think, once again, when you have that control of Congress, when you have that control of the Senate, and you have those type of comp controllers who are able to see if the American public is getting a fair shake, I think that that's part of the struggle, you know, and that's just what it is. And you're right, Marlon, it is all money stealing schemes, and I feel like that impacts. The government taxes the gasoline. That's 100%. And I think that's the problem. And I think that should be the overall discussion, is that they are taxing the gasoline. They are driving up the price. And when they drive up the price of gasoline, it drives up the price of food. It drives up the price of other goods, because now you have to have this, the diesel goes up for the trucks. And so
Almost $6 a gallon.
and now the truckers are not being, their pay are not being adjusted. That's the other cold piece about it too, y'all. It seems that the truckers are paying more for the diesel, but it does not mean that the shipments are going up for the truckers. And we have to look at that and check out the balance. Now, he said we need to open up our own gas stations. Even if you do, like, so there's a gas station around the corner from me, and that gas station is typically 10 to 15 cents cheaper than what it is around here. But I've talked to the owner, and they get in trouble and they get fined for having gas too low because they're independent gas.
What?
Yeah, because they're saying you're messing up the market. You got to think about it. They can set the price at whatever it is that they're getting it from if they have a connection. There's another gas station right over here off of 81 by Walmart, and they've said the same thing too. So it's just a lot that goes into that. And they will get on you. Now, this is the thing about white business in America. They lynch black folks for painting their houses blue on blocks where the houses are all white. If they set a standard in a market, they will burn you out if they feel like you're undercutting what it is that they have set. And that's something that we have to understand, like from a business aspect. You want to talk business, not consumer ideas. I'm talking about true business. They're not going to let you come drop the prices. I think I told y'all my reason why. I'm like, I got to back up off Pepsi. Because Pepsi, in order to give Walmart the lowest prices, they forced the other stores to raise their prices on Pepsi. And it was a whole story about it, where the stores were forced to sell Pepsi at $3.75 per 2 liter, and Walmart could sell it at $2.50. Why? Because they wanted to drive people to Walmart because Walmart bought more in bulk. But if you decided to sell it and match Walmart's price, guess what you didn't get? No more Pepsi. So there's a lot of price manipulation that takes place amongst these American corporations.
So you said we don't have a free and fair market? Is that what you're saying?
Not at all. Not at all. And that's one of the things that I think that we have to understand. And I think your brother's saying it right. The Nigerians, it doesn't belong to Nigeria. That's the other side about America. And I say this respectfully because I live in an area where there's a lot of West Africans. We have to stop believing these stories like they in control of shit. They ain't in control of nothing. Like they're not. They're just not. If they were, they would be there. They would be free. Like I don't see no black person rushing to be around a bunch of white people. I'm just being honest with you. Like it just don't happen. And especially when you got control, you got riches, and you got good weather. Like don't believe Hollywood is the reason why people will come across seas. Don't believe that if you had a chance to have all that access that they have, that they're running it. So that's not the case. And he said that's a MAGA narrative. Hey, well, MAGA, my nigga, MAGA. But I just think that we have to be able to look at what's happening on a international stage and then listen to the other players, because sometimes it is about market manipulation. If they can drive the market up, and then it almost becomes the market becomes so high that you see and you say, well, dang, Kushner and his buddies are billionaires now. And they bought EA Sports. For you Madden players, NCAA, players, they bought EA Sports. Jared Kushner did. And they bought a few other entertainment companies during the time right after the inauguration. Right after the inauguration. So look at what's happening on a war level and ask yourself, if you're Iran, you got access, you understand this too. Don't believe that these other foreign leaders don't understand the world markets. They have people that they hire to do this. They see the price manipulation. And then they also see that, hey, man, not only are you dropping bombs on me, but you raising the rates of the barrel per gallon, and I don't even get my cut. You selling my shit at $250 a barrel, and you still giving me this funky ass $70, right? Like, and you saying that this is cool. It's just a real conversation that I feel like Americans need to really grow up and really understand. Politics on an international level reverberates back here. And if we're not going to control it, and if we're not going to send people to DC, not because you want to have a beer with them, but the fact that these people are going to impact not only what happens overseas, but what also happens here, then we're going to forever be in this space. And one last thing I do want to say. The American press is getting exactly what the fuck they deserve.
How so?
Because they are the ones that pushed him up to Obama level. They could have ignored him. They helped drum him up to this level. They have. They filmed him coming down the escalator. They allowed him to have the Tea Party that they no longer bring up. They've allowed him to insult other politicians while never investigating his past. This whole Epstein thing that is new to us, they've been on this. And so when they're getting abused and they're getting talked about the way that they are, we shouldn't feel sorry for them, because if they were doing their job to him, he should have been John Edwards 2.0. We should have known.
Never should have got out the gate.
We should have known that goddamn Alania was a porn star that was sold to him by Jeffrey Epstein. We should have known that coming out the gate. And so I don't feel sorry for the American media. I don't, because they've justified his existence in ways that I don't think that if they were doing their job, Rashi, that they would have. It's like he's the kid that flunked all the spelling tests, but you want to put that motherfucker in charge of the spelling bee. Nigga, go sit down. Sit in the corner.
You just sent me into a rabbit hole. I'm sorry. You said a name that I was like, yeah, where that nigga at? And so I've been listening.
John Edwards?
No. Ahmadinejad.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Ahmadinejad. Where the fuck is Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, man? Hey, what we doing talking about Khomeini? Where is Mahmoud Ahmad motherfucking Dinejad?
They try to kill him too.
Okay, and I got it, but he's still alive.
Yeah, he's still alive.
So this is what when you say people who are willing to tell the truth. Well, what the United States is up against is the Tourés, the Ibrahim Touré, the Ahmadinejads. They can't pay. We don't have enough money to pay these niggas off, man. We don't have enough money to buy us a Nigerian drug lord that turns over the military no more. We used to be able to could buy that, baby. America used to be so smooth we could overturn. Well, we tried. I think we lost it at Cuba. Do you think the Bay of Pigs is when we lost it, Brother Vaughn? I don't know when we lost it, but America used to be
no,
able to
I would
purchase
say the Contra hearings,
the
like that.
Iran
That
con.
really that put everybody on game, put everybody on blast. Showed that we didn't learn from the Bay of Pigs. Showed that we really didn't learn from Vietnam. I'm sorry,
Vietnam.
and it was
Mm-hmm.
like, see, y'all motherfuckers can't be trusted. That I think that really put everybody on blast. So I would say the Iran Contra hearings is really what did. Yep, Ali North, Contra, and Ali North. I agree with you, brother Marlon. I think that's what really put us in
Cause
the
we
street.
used to could buy ourselves a government. What? You don't want to listen? Watch by Monday. See what had happened. We switching all these signs
Throw
out.
some
They'll
rice
be
over there.
baby.
Throw
When
some
you
rice
get through,
over there.
we gonna throw some. We gonna accidentally drop some 10 tons of rice on the president's head. And when we look up, you'll have a brand new shiny government paid for by the American government. That used to be our get down. But the world is tired. We have to come up with a new mantra. We have to come up with a new way of existing with the rest of the world, brothers. And I don't know what it is, because it's like when you was a bully in middle school and high school, bro, and then they found out and they saw you at the club. And then you come up on them talking about, hey, I know you, man. We went to school together, right? And in your heart, you saying, get your demon motherfucking ass away from me. You stole my lunch money for 1,000 years. I hate you. But they don't see that. They see themselves as a classmate of yours that matriculated through the school system with you. So when you run up on them 10 years later, 15 years later, and y'all supposed to be kicking it at the club, and he shoot your ass up out of there, you like, this nigga tripping. What he tripping about? He tripping over 15 years of you stealing his lunch money, pushing him into a locker, stealing his girlfriend, mushing him in the back of the lunch line.
Go mutely.
He's tripping over some shit that you don't even remember. I mean that he don't even remember. You know that the aggressor don't remember. But if we don't start remembering and fix our aggressive ways, brother, deals like we trying to do with Iran, the deal we trying to do right now with Cuba, so that we can quit take our foot off of their neck. The deal we doing with Nigeria, that's the shadiest of our business for real. What the hell we got going on in North Africa? Over there by Nigeria. Why we keep fucking around over there and doing weird stuff over there? We got
Resources.
s- we got so many deals we trying to run, and everybody is remembering that we mushed them in the back of the head in the lunch line, and we shoved them into a locker through in third period, and it's just not going to work. Something's gonna have to happen, and I look forward to seeing America change, brothers. I don't know what it's gonna take. Another attack on soil, not, and I'm not burning bread. I'm not burning bread. Put me on the record as not burning bread, but another attack on native soil is the only thing I know that make Americans do what? That's the only thing that make us do a Scooby Doo what
If it
is
happens,
what.
it'll be staged. If it happens at this act, it'll be staged.
Yeah, I think that that card too has been played out with all the security measures that we have, all the cameras, the TSA, so on and so forth. I don't know how successful another attack on American soil would be. I think that what we're missing through this whole thing is what Thomas said earlier. It's just the grift. They have so much shit going on that it does not allow you to pay attention to what the hell they're actually doing. He just fired the labor secretary just the other day. She's caught up in scandal about an affair with the staffer and drinking on the job. Cash Patel is suing people for a defamation of character lawsuit. He's talking about he ain't sipping on a little something on the job, but you saw him clearly in the locker room with the U.S. team after their victory, and he looked a little tore from the floor up for me. You know what I'm saying? How does the director of the FBI wind up in the locker room of the U.S. Olympic hockey team? How does that work? Why is that even a thing? It's a thing because Trump allegedly is big into sports. He wants to have SmackDown on the warehouse lawn or UFC fights on the warehouse lawn, and that's how it happens. It happens because the dude at the wheel is just as hands off, just as um, not reasonably cognizant of the moment as everybody around him is.
Yeah.
Is it that he surrounds his people with folks that are more stupid, less stupid than so he can always feel like he's the smartest person in the room? Is it that he feels himself, fills the room with people, or surrounds himself with people whom are not as sure as themselves, so they always bow to him and scratch his ego, or give him a kind word, or give him a soft shoulder to land on, or whatever. When
Yeah.
he's feeling bad, I don't know.
But you know,
What
but you
I
know,
know though is I'm a land. I'm gonna let you get in. These international relationships are truly, truly tethered. What I know though is that our allies do not want us as an ally right now, and that is a fucking problem. Go ahead, Thomas. What you say?
it's just a case of Revenge of the Nerds. I just want everybody to think about the movie Revenge of the Nerds and imagine what happens if all the nerds and then all of the frat boys come together. And you know that there's some dysfunction on both sides. Elon is one of the geek nerds, right? He's the guy, I forgot Gilbert. He's like Gilbert them. And so is Patel and a few other. They're on the spectrum. They're a little different. Okay.
Little downsy. I'm like, okay.
And you know, in Hexeth and Trump, they're more like Biff and his friends, right? You know, they got money, they come from means, they really don't like the nerds, but they can use the nerds now because they see they can make it. Like this is Revenge of the Nerds 3.0. This is what it would be once they grow up and get out of college and then they
The
go to
Washington edition.
place, right? And that's all it is. And you see this level of Patel has to have the super young girlfriend that he has to have the FBI protecting because it's his girlfriend. Nobody else in the FBI directors had to have their wives or their girlfriends protected, but the nerd does. All of this shit is just nerd shit. And if we are like these are the most uncoolest motherfuckers possible
It's
to be
little penis energy. They're all giving little penis energy.
1,000,000%. But see, Rashi just brought up something that I wanted her to correlate. Notice how they either drunk, sleeping with the help, all of them drunk, sleeping with the help, or funniness with the money across the board. Stephen Miller, oh, big nerd, right? He's a big nerd, right? And then they got a little, like you got like the Scott Jennings of the world who just got outed. He's the white version of Lamar from the nerds. Okay. They say everywhere Scott Jennings go from CNN, the grinder site crashes. Okay. Everywhere you see Scott, there's an undercover convention that's taking place.
So yeah, thank you for throwing the CNN tag. But just people don't know, he's a commentator on CNN, and he just got rocked with the fact that someone tweeted multiple tweets about their intimate understanding of whom Mr. Scott is out there chasing around with, and it ain't another woman. He ain't looking for Nikki. He looking for Nicholas.
for timid. But you know,
Allegedly.
but no, because the guy got pictures. They got pictures of him kissing. They got pictures of him hanging out. They got stories from multitude of places. Scott is a Kentucky conservative that's thinking about running for office. But he's also one of these people that he swears to God he doesn't like the queers. So this is the stuff that we're dealing with across the board. Melania giving a press conference. I don't know Elon. I think I mean, not Elon. I don't know Jeffrey. Oh, Jeffrey sold you. And his pictures with you and Jeffrey, like
Together.
together, pre and post Trump. Like, this is the crazy stuff that we're dealing with in the country. And then everybody across seas got a right to look at us the way that they do, because we do look like we are, bipolar. We look
All
like
right.
we
We got
That's
5 minutes left.
that's that kabuki theater, man.
Oh, I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it. Oh, it's not a show without hitting the Kabuki theater. I was waiting for it to come. We made it almost all the way through without hitting it. I want to hit this real quick, and then we can wrap up with our final thoughts and comments.
Mhm.
So Virginia did pass the measure to redistrict. The Supreme Court of Virginia has stalled the. I'm sorry, that's not true. There have been 5 lawsuits pending, filed against the measure. They will have to go through the Supreme Court of Virginia. If it doesn't get resolved there, obviously they have the option of appealing to the Supreme Court of the United States. I don't think it's going to go to SCOTUS, but whatever's clever. The measure won 51.5% to 48.6%. That's what 98% of the districts in. So it looks like the folks of Virginia did vote for this, and it will stand. We just need to clear through these hurdles in order for the final implementation and certification of the measure. Now, they're trying to delay until obviously past the midterms. If the Democrats were smart, they would push somebody to get this done quickly so that everything is set, because you don't want confusion going in to the voting booth on election day during the midterms. But it looks like the Democrats should net 4 seats. If this holds, they should gain additional 4 seats in the House of Representatives. So that will truly quash anything that the Republicans set up to do during the midterms. I did see an article this morning saying that I think it was the Mississippi governor is looking to call a special convention to look at redrawing the districts for the midterms, but that is going to only be after the matter is settled at the SCOTUS level. So we'll see what happens. Rashi, you got anything to say before we slide out?
Oh, only that it's summertime. We about to hit the summertime, young people. Okay, if you have a yard that needs to be clean, or a basement that needs to be done, a garage that needs to be sorted, put that on the heart of a young person. Hire a young person. No, I'm not playing, because they really don't believe they're doing something. They're standing by the liquor store asking for money. Okay. And it's because you don't want to give them that little funky ass $30, $40, $50 to do some find something for young people to do in your community. I don't care if it's important to, if you need, that's right, if you need your cars washed, grass cut, yard, the thing done, you moving, hire you some young backs. Young backs can lift that shit up like that. Hire a young person this summer. Find your budget to hire, not work the shit out of your kids. I'm talking about actually hiring and doing a money transaction with a young person. That's where I'm at.
Thomas, what you got? You got 30 seconds.
The Watch app, thewatchapp.org. Download, sign up, $5.99 a month per subscription nationwide. Make sure you tap in, from the panic button to being able to record your interactions with law enforcement. It is the most progressive app on the planet. And don't be telling me you support Black folks and you ain't downloaded the Watch and figured out ways to protect yourself.
There you go. Look, y'all. Thank you all for listening live, watching live. I got to stop saying listening. Damn, I've been saying this so long, I get confused. For watching us live, or those that watch us later, as we always do about this time. If no one's told you that they love you, we do. Ain't a damn thing you can do about it. Till next week, family. Peace.